Happy belated Mother's Day to all the wonderful ladies out there. Good morning, all. Good morning. How are you? How are you? Good morning, yo. What up, D-Rob? Auntie Canada in the building. How y'all feeling this morning? Like for real, for real? How was your Mother's Day? Did y'all get the take me out to the ball game? I'm sorry, take me out to the Olive Garden treatment? Did y'all get the family cookouts? Did all the kids come over and celebrate with you? Awesome. Feeling great. Feeling great. All right, y'all can see, brother's a little tired, so I'm really moving slow this day. But welcome to More Than Motivation, your daily dose of inspiration and empowerment. I'm your host, Jamal, and I'm thrilled to have you join me this morning. So whether you're here for a kickstart or a dose of positivity and purpose, you've come to the right place. And on your way in, go ahead and hit that like button. Let me know you're here. Feel free to comment in the chats today. That your girl said, tired, boss. Had the nephew all week. But the family time was fun. Toronto Rigger says, relaxed. Well, that's good, man, because, quite often, whenever we get a holiday or a break, we always need a break from the break. So this weekend, it was Mother's Day weekend. And it was a lot happening around the Glover household. A lot of moving pieces. And I went through this real steep range of emotions. And some of them I'm not really ready to really talk about just yet because I'm still processing a few, because some of them were like deep-seated things that I had forgotten about. And they kind of popped up on me and surprised me. And what I do want to talk about this weekend is we took a little fishing trip. I told y'all Friday that I was going to throw my line in the water. Well, we took a little fishing trip, a little fishing excursion, as you will. Loaded up 2 vehicles, went out there with the fam, did some fishing out on the coast of North Carolina. The Outer Banks, Cape Lookout, that area. Mama P, she got her, look, let me tell you something. Mama P has gotten this new lease on life right now. And as much as her body will allow her to do, she's doing it. I woke up one morning, came in my office, did a little work, went downstairs, made some coffee. This was early, probably maybe 6:30, but it's like probably Saturday morning. Not this past Saturday, but like maybe last Saturday morning. Go downstairs, make some coffee, come back up, and I go back down about 9 a.m. 9 a.m., I hear the pan sizzling. She got a little something cooking in the pan. She's on the phone. And then I noticed something sitting on the corner of the counter of the island. It was a Corona. And I look at the Corona. And then I look at her. And now she said to me, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But yeah, Mama P, she had a good Mother's Day. When you get older in life, and not even in her particular situation, but when you get older in life, you find the value in spending more and more time with family. When you're younger, you don't really you like being around your family most of the time, but it's not a need to be around your family. At least not in my estimation or my path or the people around me. Because prime example, we went fishing this morning. This morning. We went fishing over the weekend. Yeah, this wasn't no little trip to the local lake or to the little backyard pond. This wasn't to the little river where you can wade through and catch crawfish, you know? This is not that kind of excursion. This was a pack the car up, pack coolers, family gets in the car, drive for a couple of hours, get to the coast, hop on a ferry, take the ferry almost on a sightseeing tour because they were dropping people off at different locations. So we got a chance to see lighthouses and wild horses and things of that nature. And then you get to your quote unquote fishing hole. And it's an island sitting out in the middle of a sound. But not just any part of the sound. It's an island sitting at the part of a sound where the sound runs into the ocean, the deep. And in this particular space, this is where the bait fish generally hang out. But then the bigger predator fish come in and they feast, if you will. So some days it could be a literal feeding frenzy, depending on how aggressive the fish are that are coming into this bank, into this area. Rob said shakes. I think I missed you, bro. Maybe I said something a while back, but I think I done moved tracks now. So this is not just any fishing trip. We also using this trip as promotional tools for my company, Father Figure Institute. Branding purposes. Because one of the things that we want to do with that company. Oh, snakes. I got you. Yeah, no snakes. Not even really any bugs, because when you out on the ocean, there's a wind current that kind of blows through that washes the flies and the insects and everything. They can't fly really because they get swept away. There's nowhere to hide. They can't get in no trees and just wait out. We're on a literal sandbar. I should have called it a sandbar, not an island, but I call it an island because it was probably about the size of maybe 2-3 football fields. But there's no trees. We're just out there. And when I tell you that our children, they fished for all of 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and that was when we immediately got off the ferry. Now we're setting up little bathroom stations. We're laying out fishing gear, we're moving chairs, we're trying to get our area straight. These jokers grab their little rods and they go out and they start fishing. Now they don't understand how to fish just yet. Anybody who fishes know that there's a time when you just sit, and there's a time when you actively cast and reel. It's a whole thing. You got to feel for the bite. You got to play with baits. You got to switch up, see what success you're having in order to form your strategy. Well, they don't understand that part yet. They just want to throw it in the water and pull a fish out. Doesn't happen that way, right? I named today's show as High Expectations because as people, most of us have high expectations, at least at some point in our lives. Sometimes we get older and they get a little lax. We don't need as much. We don't require as much. We've seen a lot. And we understand the lane that we're supposed to be in. But when you're younger, your expectations are higher because you think the world owes you something. And so you expect to have A, B, C, or D. Am I the only one who's ever just had crazy high expectations? Put a 1 in the chat if you went through a period in your life where your expectations were through the roof. Shout out to all my coffee drinkers this morning. Crazy high expectations. So we're out on this huge sandbar. I see a couple ones. I see a bunch of ones. And so we're out on this sandbar, and the kids' expectations are very high because I showed my son Jordan. I showed him a video of where we were going. And on this particular video, the highlight reels only make it online. And so on this particular video, he just saw fish just busting the surface of the water, just feeding and just having a frenzy. It was going down in this video. I mean, it made him excited. He was like, "Oh man, Pop, yeah, we gonna do that." But then when we get there, we realize that it's not as good as we thought. So we get a little frustrated. We get a little impatient, if you will. And we start doing things out of feeling other than fact. Doing things that makes us feel better about what we're doing instead of staying the course. And so within an hour, I got one child walking off to one end of the sandbar just out of no man's land. I got another one sitting on a cooler in the corner over there, buried in their phone. And so me and Craig G, we are there casting back and forth. The ladies were even just kind of sitting over there, just enjoying the day. Because I'm not sure if they had really any high expectations. But of course, me and Craig, we had some high expectations. Because I've been there before. I've seen people catching stuff. Craig's seen the video. He's seen people catching stuff. And Craig just an average fisherman. Craig's probably one of the best fishermen I know. Just, how some people have just raw talent. They're born to do a thing. Quick story. My bad, Craig. Craig G is my little brother, y'all. Craig G is my little brother. And when he was probably, I'm roughly 7 years older than he is. And when he was a little kid, my dad took us to this pond that his friend owned. And he had one of those little Spider-Man little kiddie rods. And he put my dad put his bait on there and showed him how to cast it into the water. And it goes pretty far. I'm just like, wow, because I'm trying to get, because my rod was a little bigger than his, but mine wasn't casting this far. So anyway, he cast it out there, and he just kind of reeling it back. Kids and Paige, you're supposed to let it sit, because I think it was a worm on it, honestly. And you're supposed to let it sit. But him being the average kid, he was just winding that joker in and looking around, not paying attention. Then all of a sudden, this fish bites his line or bites his hook. And the rod tip goes down, and my dad said, "Reel, Craig, reel." So he started reeling, and he's reeling real tough. And when that fish got within about 2 feet of the shore, my pops grabbed the rod and kind of pulled the fish onto the shore. Craig saw that fish. He threw the rod down and he ran. Oh, man. Shout out to Craig. He threw that rod down and he ran. I mean, ran. Afraid of it. Because that bass was probably 3-pound bass. I mean, it was for your first fish, that's a big fish. It was like at least that long and had that much girth to it. It was a big fish that he pulled out this private pond. He's always, and I think a fire lit in him at that point. I'm not sure when he actually caught the bug, but he has always had the ability since the first time he went fishing to pull fish out of the water. It's like they're attracted to his line. He has a natural gift, a natural talent for it. He's really good at it. And he also has a personality it's suitable to do this YouTube thing. So y'all help me encourage Craig that he need to start his own YouTube channel, his own fishing YouTube channel, because he does. I watch a lot of fishing videos, and he's by far one of the better fishermen that I watch. So just a little nudge to you there, bruh. But anyway, we out there. He picks up my wife's rod, and he's just casting her rod. just casting. Catches a 14-inch Spanish mackerel, just playing. It's kind of what he do. 14-inch Spanish mackerel, just playing. Just playing around. The kids see that. Guess what? They hop up. Expectations are fired up again. They grab their little rods and they go back to the water's edge. I ain't gonna even lie. It inspired me too. So I grabbed my rod too and I went over there. Let me see if I can catch me something. No luck. Nobody called again. I think Craig called again. I think he caught the next one. Yeah, he caught the next one too, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm not feeling away, but what I realize is that, you know what? What works for him, what makes him successful, isn't necessarily what makes me successful. It don't always work for me. Now, my children, on the other hand, they haven't lived long enough yet to understand what strategizing to create a new plan. They still on that time when if the first thing didn't work, then bump it. It must not be for me. But as you get older, you learn. Just because it don't work the first time don't mean it ain't gonna work the second time. Just because it didn't work the second time don't mean that you can't tweak it a little bit and do it a third time. Just because it didn't work the third time don't mean you ain't got to tweak it a little bit more. Figure out what did work in the first time, where you were comfortable. And so what I do what I always do. Fish whisper. Yeah, the boy's a fish whisperer. That he is. He is definitely a fish whisperer. King 6, what up, bruh? What up, boo? And so these kids, man, after about 10, 15 minutes of not catching, then I see both of them just walking off in the distance. Walking off into the sunset. Walking off into the sunset. Boy, I mean, it was probably what? 11:30, 12 o'clock at this time. It's lunchtime and they just walking off. They have given up. No more, no more. And actually, neither one of them touched the rod for the next 5 hours. They laid in their beach chairs and they took naps. They was on their phone. They went in the office, had conversations, but they refused to pick up another rod. And that's what happens sometimes in life when we are out here trying to make some shake. We have these high expectations. Craig G, my bad, bro. I didn't know you was on the call. I speak emoji, but that confuses me a little bit, bro. Their expectations were so high, and when they didn't get the results they wanted, they put down the dream. They put down the goal. They went off and they found other things to do to distract them. And you know what they missed out on? They missed out on the ability to have resilience, the ability to understand why something didn't work. You see, sometimes when things don't work, that's for your benefit. When things don't go the way you want them to go, many times it's for your benefit, but not if you don't get anything from it. You see, in life, there's always lessons. Everything, there's a teachable something in it. You can take something from everything in life. You just got to look for it. You got to want to find something in it, but it's there. So I took a break because I'm feeling a few little nibbles here, but in my mind, watch me now. In my mind, I've seen people pull tunas, flounders, heck, I think even a mahi-mahi or a dolphin fish. That's my expectation. That's what I'm going to pull out this fishing hole off this coast. That's what I'm pulling out here today. And then I caught my first fish. It was a small croaker. You know that fish that make a little noise. I almost got like a catfish mouth to it, but he's like, rrr, 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 rrr. They call them croakers. Okay. Let's try it again. I go out there again. Catch another small croaker. Okay. Let's see if I can catch something a little bit bigger. So I change my size of my bait up and I throw it out there again. Nothing. All right, okay. So now let's go back to what worked. Let me go back. Let's put this other size bait on my hook. Let's do the same technique. All right, now I'm gonna take that technique and I'm gonna move it over here. I'm gonna move it over here. Y'all follow y'all see what I'm doing there, right? This is really a scientific method. This is science I'm doing right now. But it's also real life. You see, when you have high expectations, there's a high failure rate. I'm gonna say that one more time for the people in the back. When you have high expectations, there is also a high failure rate. Meaning, you're gonna get it wrong until you figure out how to get it right to meet your expectation. Is this making sense to y'all this morning? Put a 1 in the chat if it's making sense to you. If it's making sense to you, if you understand what I'm saying right now, put a 1 in the chat. Because so many of us, we have this idea that we're going to wish upon a star. If it looks good to me, it must be good for me. If it feels good, it must be good. So I want more. I want more. I want bigger. I want better. And the expectation and the standard keeps getting higher and higher. but exposure, the risk of exposure. When you're not right on the inside, meaning you're stressed out, you have some anxiety issues, you are dismissive avoidant. You see, high expectations put a certain amount of pressure on you. High expectations puts a certain amount of pressure on you. And that pressure will expose whatever chinks you have in your armor. Whatever anxiety, whatever shortcoming, whatever thing that you were self-conscious over, is going to expose all of that. If you don't have any patience, it's going to expose it. When you have these lofty ideals and dreams and high expectations, you will be tested at an all-time high. Because with high expectations, there's a high failure rate. D-Rob says, until it doesn't exceed the expectation anymore, then it is useless. Drop a bomb on that one. Right. You're right. And so what I'm saying is, I'm not saying how you should have low expectations or no expectations. That's not what I'm saying. There was a point in the day where the fishing was very slow. And when the fishing was very slow, we had everybody out there had the highest expectation. Well, everybody that was fishing had the highest expectation. And after 3 hours, there was maybe 2 fish caught. After 3 hours, there was only 2 fish caught. And then something happened. I saw Craig over there setting up another rod, changing the bait, changing the look. I was on this side. I went from straight casting and fishing with big lures down to smaller hooks, different baits, moving locations, trying to find the pocket, trying to find the sweet spot. And guess what happened? We started pulling small fish. The baby croakers, the pinfish, it's so much in this story to tell because there's so many storylines happening in there. But I'm gonna try to stay disciplined and stay on high expectations because there's also, I could tell a story about resiliency and not giving up. I can tell a story about you keep swinging, you keep swinging, you keep swinging, you coming up zero. You're not catching anything. The fish just taking your bait. You're frustrated. People are catching, but you're not catching. See, I could tell so many stories about this weekend, but I'm gonna stick to this high expectation. And I want to contrast between what my children, the inexperienced, was doing versus my brother and I, the more experienced, what we were doing. My children, they had thrown in the towel. They was lounging on chairs, relaxing, just trying to make the best out of a bad situation. Trying to make the best out of a bad situation. Meanwhile, we are over here saying, this is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity. You see all this open water, and I ain't tell you about the boats. There were boats, literally, on the water. You know, it's kind of hard to judge distance, but the boats looked like I could throw my rod and hit the boat. That's how close they looked like they were. But it was probably 20 or 30 boats. I don't have the footage to show y'all right now, but I'm gonna bring the footage. I'm gonna let y'all see it probably sometime this week, so y'all can actually see what I'm describing right now. But there were boats super close, and it was like a parking lot, a literal parking lot. Boats were side by side, and we were on this sandbar. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm like, man, the boats to set up a blockade, and so any fish that's gonna get through, well, it ain't many fish getting through all them boats if they hungry. They gonna bite what's there. They ain't gonna make it over here. But I'm like, nah, I can't think like that. But what I am gonna do, I'm gonna get away from these doggone boats. Plus the wind was on that side and it was hard to cast. So I went back to the other side. Strategizing. High expectations, high failure rate. But all you gotta hit is one time. In life, you can go from company to company, to job, but you're learning skills on every job. You're learning new things in every space you go. Every relationship that you have, friendship, personal relationship, there's something to gain or garner from each one of those things. Even if they don't make it. Why did it not make it? What can I do better next time? All of these things happen so you can receive those things that you have these high expectations for. I talk about on this channel a lot how you have to become the person that qualifies to have your dream. You have to become the person that either has the education, has the experience, has the stick-to-itiveness, has the no-quit-itis. Because the victory comes to those who endure. The race is not given to the swift or the strong, but those that endure. Y'all know what I'm talking about right now. And so my children had these high expectations and they just threw in the towel, gave up the ghost. My brother and I, and then my wife and my sister, they got up and they started fishing. And guess what? When they started fishing, here's another layer. They didn't really have to wait as long before they started getting some action. Isn't that how life goes? You come in and you've been working hard for 6 straight hours, 5 straight hours, 4 straight years, 5 straight months, and somebody else come in and they fall right into the pocket that you had to develop. Can anybody relate to that? You done bust your butt trying to make this path and figuring out, going through what you got to go through, and then somebody come in, good timing, and they slide right in there where you are and didn't have to do as much as you did. They didn't stand on their feet as long as you stood on your feet. They didn't have to go through all the bad write-ups or the hurt feelings. They didn't have to go through all that stuff. They just slid right on in there. I think sometimes we call them starter husbands, starter wives. You spent 10 years with a person, 20 years with a person, 5 years with a person. And then that relationship ends. And now they're all of a sudden the perfect person for somebody else. Oh man, it's hard, but it's fair. It's hard, but it's fair. That's just the way life goes. You shouldn't feel anything toward that other person, because their journey is their journey. You don't know what they've been through, what they had to go through just to get there, just because their journey doesn't look like yours. You don't know what they've been through. To you, it seems easy. Just like every time I caught a fish, I hold it up and I see my son here just be like, He shoot me the thumbs up, or he'll just give me the head nod because he saw me working, and it was no hate, it was no malice. It was just like, dang. But guess what? His pride or his disinterest, wouldn't let him go pick up his rod and come try it again. That chick yo said, that's the way it is. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Your journey is not my journey. Your journey is not your brother's journey. Your journey is not your sister's journey. It's not your mother or your father's journey. Your journey is your journey. You are unique. You are a unique individual. There was never one before you, and there will never be one after you. You are the only you there will ever be. And your journey will not look like anybody else's. So you have to make peace with who you are, where you are, the gifts, the talents, the abilities that you have. I know there was a big fuss over Uncle Shay Shay. Shannon Sharp made a comment about Shaquille O'Neal and said that if Shaquille O'Neal had his work ethic, if Shaquille had Shannon's work ethic, he would have probably been considered the greatest of all time. Because he was just, and he was saying it, I don't think he was trying to be dismissive of Shaq, personally, or saying that, comparing himself to Shaq, because anybody with eyes knows that Shannon worked to become a Hall of Famer, become not even one of the greatest tight ends, but a very good tight end in the league. Hall of Fame worthy. Got a couple of championships. But working his butt off still did not make him half as great as Shaq was from a talent perspective. Shaq had the talent. I mean, this guy's 7 foot. How tall is Shaq? 7'4"? 7'3". He's over 7 foot. I mean, way over 7. And he's almost 3. Well, when he played, he was like 280, 300 pounds. The ability to move, the athleticism, and he didn't get injured a lot. Most humans aren't built that way. Shaq was given a gift that most people just don't have, will never experience. But Shaq has also said, because he's had that talent, yes, and Shaq has more rings. But because Shaq has the talent, he's also said he didn't work as hard in practice. He saved himself for the game. AI said the same thing. Practice. We ain't talking about the game. We talking about practice. You see, people that are supremely talented, people with a natural gift, don't have to work as hard as the person who doesn't have as much of that gift. There's some people who are going to bust their butt just to be okay, just to be adequate. And there's some people that's going to wake up out the bed and they're amazing. Now this is tough. This path we're on is tough because it's easy to have an opinion about it. Because there are things that we're just not really that good at, but we love it. There's things that we literally suck at, but we love it. And there's things that we're really good at that we don't really care for. Sometimes it comes because we're comparing ourselves to other people and we see how somebody else is doing it and that just looks better to us, but we have no natural aptitude for it. But the pocket, the sweet spot, is when you are beginning to figure out how to meet your expectations in a certain space. I got to a point where I would throw a really light line, I took some light line, I took a small hook, I took some squid, I cast it out there, and I wasn't just waiting. I'll then pull the line out, hold the rod, and when a fish would hit it, the line would come out of my hand. Because the wind was blowing, I didn't trust the moving of the pole. I couldn't set it in the rod hole, I had to actually hold it. And I had to actively fish. So now, when I feel, boom, the line, now I can start reeling because I was using circle hooks, not regular hooks. Straight hook, you have to set it to hook the fish. Circle hook, you reel down. And then I started pulling fish after fish after fish after fish after fish after fish. Shout out to me. I found the pocket. Now, granted, they were all smaller fish, nothing that I really wanted to keep. But what's the one thing that I knew? Where there's small fish, there's big fish. Where there's small fish, there's big fish. And then I started catching so much, I noticed my wife is down and she's fishing beside me. My sister's down, she's fishing beside her. My brother's over here, he's fishing on this side of me. I go to change my bait, I lose my spot. You move your feet, you lose your seat, right? Because now people saying he's found the pocket. It's definitely fish on this side, so let's keep going. So now everybody's catching. Everybody is catching now. The kids are so far gone. One kid over there in the thing with the blanket over her head, and the other one, he's down there with his head over here. And it's like, we're looking back like, man, as a parent, you have high expectations that when you take your children somewhere, they're going to appreciate it. Yeah, they don't always appreciate it. Oh, did I finish my story? I think I did. Shannon Sharp had a crazy work ethic. He put off family. He put off everything. He didn't enjoy a lot of stuff because he was trying to be the best he could be. And even at his best, it was his best. We've never seen the best of a Shaquille O'Neal. We've seen the best of a Michael Jordan. Because Michael gave it in practice. He gave it in the game. But then he go to baseball and suck. He got out the pocket. How many of y'all, put a one in the chat if you ever been in the pocket and you left it? Put a one in the chat if you found your sweet spot and you left it chasing something else. You were in that place that actually met your expectations, but then you got bored with it. Put a one in the chat. High expectations, man. High expectations. Because after I changed my bait and I lost my spot, guess what I did? I had the pocket. Yeah, D-Rob. I didn't leave it on purpose either, bruh. But people had took my position because I stepped out for a second. I had to go change my line. Something that I'm supposed to do. But you know what Craig did? Craig went and brought the bait to him. Because he didn't want to lose his spot. So he brought the bait to himself. Toronto Riggins said, I'm getting back to it, though. That's it. And so the problem sometimes with going back, sometimes you go back, hey, it's still popping. It's still popping. But sometimes you go back and the current has shifted. And what was now the pocket is now a dry place. Now you have to search again. You got to re-strategize. You got to refine the pocket. And that's almost the tragedy of life sometimes. We don't know what we don't know. And you don't know what you had until it's gone. Case in point, I was okay giving up my spot because I was catching fish every 2 minutes. I was pulling somebody out of there, out of this one spot. But it wasn't my desired fish. It wasn't the desired fish. It wasn't a king mackerel. It wasn't a bonita or a false albacore. So I said, I'm moving. I'm going to go over here to the peak. I'm going to go to this point over here. I'm going to try it over there. So I went there. Nothing. Nothing was popping. And as I'm gone, somebody caught a very nice sized bluefish. Somebody else caught a very big croaker. And not the little ones, it was a big croaker. And I'm thinking to myself, I was in the pocket. I could have stayed and fought for my positioning, but I moved because I wasn't catching the fish that I thought I should have been catching. But guess what I was doing when I was there? I was catching. I was catching. Toronto Reagan says it's all about having a different strategy. D. Rob says, gotta want it. Yeah. But also, here's the beauty of life. You don't have to, hey, using this term, settle. You don't have to settle for what you don't want to settle for. It's okay to have high expectations. But you got to understand, if I do move, if I do get out of the pocket that's actually working for me now, there's a strong possibility that I will never find it again. There's a strong possibility that I won't find it in the near future. Got all this momentum going. I've acquired all of this knowledge, but I'm not getting the results that I want. So I'm going to shift gears and I'm going to go do this. But every time you shift gears and go do something else, you lose the momentum in the thing that you had going. Meaning you leave the pocket. You leave the pocket. And now you got to go find another pocket over here. But there is an occasional time or two, though, when the skills are transferable. And since we're talking about fishing, the skill is transferable. The skill is transferable. So I switched it up. I went back to artificial, changed my lure, changed the color of the lure, threw off this little peak or this point where the boat traffic was. But I noticed it was a boat there. And that boat caught some nice sized fish. So I'm re-strategizing, I'm redoing my lines, I'm making my knots a little, I'm adding a heavier weighted line, changing up the lure because I know I'm about to catch something. And I start casting. And on cast 20, y'all know what? Guess what I caught on cast 20? Nothing. I caught nothing. I did all that extra stuff and I caught nothing. Trying to figure it out. I didn't throw nothing on the skillet yet, D-Rob, but I got it. I got it on ice right. It was in the freezer now. Yesterday for Mother's Day, my wife wanted some crab, but this is not, we're not really in crab season. So I made some lobster tails, corn, and potatoes for meal one. But then for meal two, I threw some ribs on the grill. And meal one was good because we never got to the ribs. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I did yesterday. I did clean all the fish and everything, and that's in the freezer now. But yeah, I caught nothing. Came up dry. So you know what I did? I went back to what was working. I'm not selling for these little fish. No, please give me the little fish. And then I realized, you know what? We got about 30 minutes left. We got about 30 minutes left on this trip. I need to catch something bigger. So I'm going to do something that I hadn't done all day. I'm going to fish a spot that I hadn't fished all day. Now, this was a risk, but it was one I thought worth taking. So I made my hook extra meaty. I used one of those little fish that I caught, and I put them on my line. And I didn't just put them on my line. I made that line juicy. And I threw into the deepest spot that I could find. I put a bell on the end of my pole, and then I walked away. I walked away, right? Yeah. I walked away. And I started talking to other people, helping other people figure out, how to catch, how to fish by feel. And then I look back and I see my line starting to move. But not enough to concern me. Not enough that the bell is even going off. But I feel like there is something happening there. You know how you get that gut feeling sometimes? And I'm getting this gut feeling that I need to go by my line. And as we're going by my line, Craig catches another fish. His second biggest fish of the day. And I'm talking to him, but I'm watching my line at the same time. And I'm watching my line actually in the water move from left to right. And then my pole tip started to go down. And it went down and it stayed down. My bell still hadn't gone off yet. So now, thinking, I need to start reeling. Not a hard, not big set to hook, just an easy reel because I'm fishing with a circle hook. So I started reeling easy. And the moment that hook sunk into the corner of that fish mouth, it was on. And I tell y'all, there's footage of this fight too. But I fought this fish for what felt like, I don't even know. It had to be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, which is a long time to be fighting a fish from the shore. Now on the boat, I've seen people do it for 7-8 hours. Now, of course, they had to change off sometimes, but there's some big fish out in that ocean. But from the bank, with it was on my lake fishing rod. It wasn't on my ocean rod. It was my lake rod, my little spinning reel. So I'm just like, my arms are burning. Of course, I'm pulling, I'm reeling. I'm adjusting my drag. This fish is running. My rod is, all the drag is coming off my line. And I started reeling harder, trying to get the cane line back, because if it gets you too far out, he can wrap around a rock or something and break you off. And then when I would get tired, I keep my rod tip up and I back up. I'm telling you about all of my experience fishing. I'm hooked into something bigger than I've ever hooked into before. But all of the knowledge, all of the days when I didn't catch, all the days when I did catch, all the times that I quote unquote settled or I didn't settle, all this experience is now coming back to me. As I'm adjusting my drag, as I'm adjusting my foot position, I know to keep my rod tip up. My arms are burning to the point where it was at a stalemate where I couldn't even reel anymore. It was just like, ugh. So I'm having to take my hand upside down and pull the lever up. back down, pull it back up and down, pull it back up and down. Arms are on fire. I'm in a fight. But this fish is in a fight for his life. Who's going to win? Whose will is stronger? Did I tie are my fishing lines tight enough? Do I have the properly weighted line? Is my hooks, do I got the hook that's strong enough? There's so many things that can go wrong in this situation that I didn't understand when I first started fishing. That now it's all coming together so I don't have the failure. Because you see, when I got there that day, I had high expectations. I had high expectations. But am I now prepared for what I asked for? And that's the rub, man. Most of us have super high expectations. And we go through disappointment, we go through heartbreak, we go through setbacks, and we give up. We pivot, we do something else, only to realize where we were. You know what, it really wasn't that bad. You know, I mean, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it's better than what I got now. So then we start spinning the block. Sometimes in relationships, hey, big head, girl, I just want to apologize to you, you know. I didn't treat you right, you know. I understand now. We want to spin the block. We want to come back. We want to try it again. What are we learning in those times when things aren't going right? Are we becoming knowledgeable? Are we becoming the people that will be able to handle what we want when we actually do get it? Because a lot of times in our community, we say we want a thing, we ask for a thing, we hope for a thing, and then we get the thing and we can't handle it. We ain't ready for it. We wasn't prepared for it. He wasn't ready. Bruh. Happens too many times. And for one, I am tired of wanting a thing, working hard for a thing, and then when it comes, I don't recognize what it is and I mess it up. I've done it. Maybe I'm the only one who's done that, but I've definitely done it. But just like my children, high expectations, when you're inexperienced, it's easy to give in to the setbacks. It's easy to give in when things don't go your way. It's easy to stop. But as you grow older, as you get wiser, you gotta understand that every loss is a lesson. It's not a loss. It's part of your education. It's part of your education. Life is a much better school than school. You learn so much more in life. Life is more of a trial by fire because you get instant feedback quite often. You ain't got to wait for nobody to grade the paper. You ain't got to wait for nobody to finally get around to giving you the answers. No, in life, if you get it right, you know. If you get it wrong, you know. And that's where your resiliency comes from. That's when you learn the different techniques and strategies on how to be a person. You tie your shoes the way you tie your shoes because you found something that works right for you. You're left-handed, you're right-handed, so you do things according to what your dominant hand is. These are the lessons you learn in life. And everything is a lesson. So for a takeaway for today, if you have high expectations, be prepared for a high failure rate. But when you succeed, oh my goodness. When you hit, you're going to hit. And it's going to be worth all the pain, all the disappointment, all the setbacks. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Yes, boo, ribs. I I know you saw them ribs, but you was sequestered in your office working all day. But yeah, it's ribs in the fridge as you drive off. D-Rob says, speaking of education, I just finished up the spring semester on the summer school, y'all. Shout out to D-Rob, holding it in the road. That's what it's about, man. In life, you growing or you dying. There's no staying the same. You either gaining something or you losing something. You either gaining momentum or you losing steam. That's really how life works. So if you find yourself in a stagnant place, think about it. A pond that has no flow to it. There's no source feeding it, and it ain't going nowhere. That water is just stagnant. It just sits there. A petri dish of bacteria. That's what some of our lives are, because we get stuck. There is no growth. And so we're going to talk about, probably later on in this week and going into next week, we're going to talk about, because we've talked so much about the mind mentally becoming, mentally growing. But we're going to talk about the physical body over the next couple of weeks. I've been working on something. I think it's going to be a good complement to what we've already discussed. It's going to be a really good complement to it, I think. We're going to talk about, physical pain and how it affects the mind. We're going to talk about mental health and how, because May is Mental Health Month, Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's important that we understand how what we feel controls how we think, and how we think controls how we feel. They go hand in hand. The body is one unit, but it operates from different places. So we're going to cover all that. So anyway, though, it's been good. Good day. Shout out to everybody, man, for just staying steady, holding it in the road. Hope all the good mothers out there had an amazing, relaxing, and peaceful Mother's Day. Shout out to my family. We had an amazing weekend. I want to go back. Let's do the roll call. Shout out to that chick, D-Rob, Toronto Riggins. Hey, really appreciate you three in particular. Shout out to my boo, King 6 Production. Shout out to you, homie. Craig G, the Fish Whisperer. My sis, what's good, Kay? Yep, but good stuff though. D-Rob, proud of you, my guy. You putting in the work. You made a decision. You putting in the work and you staying consistent. That's what life is about. You're in the pocket right now, bro. There's different pockets in life. You're in that pocket right now that's gonna get you to your next phase. Don't stop. Keep going. All right, it is after 8 o'clock. I got a bunch of stuff to happen today, so I'm gonna get ready to get up out of here. But thank you so much for joining me this morning. And if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But also don't forget to share it. Today it wasn't all over the place. It was more dialed in. So yeah, this is a good one to share if you want to share one. So until next time, have an amazing day. Keep striving for greatness. Toronto Regan says, congratulations to my niece who graduated this Saturday. Hey, shout out to Auntie Canada's niece. Shout out. Yeah, this is graduation season too. My Jordan is graduating, y'all. This guy, he's graduating in 2 weeks now. 2 weeks, well, yeah, it's about 2 weeks from now. My nephew graduated from early college, so yeah, this is graduation season. A lot of children are about to become adults. So it's a great time. So those of you who are mentors to some of these new upcoming adults, let them know high expectations leads to a high failure rate, but that's okay. That's how you become great. Every successful person has to fail. The beauty of success is finding your way, learning those lessons, staying in the pocket until you win. That's it. But all right, man, I'm about to get up out of here. Y'all have a great Monday no matter what. Be blessed, be kind to yourself, and be kind to others. Y'all have a great day, and we will see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.